All right, so back to this issue of the help that Paddock might or might not have had. Former FBI Assistant Director Ron Hosko. Ron, you and I have chatted about this idea. This 164-year-old guy is lugging a lot of stuff back to his hotel room, and then if we're believing these early reports, even switching to a different hotel room when his original two-bedroom suite wasn't ready. It's a lot of stuff. It's not unusual to pack a lot of stuff and carry it from room to room. Usually you get bellhops or others to help you out with that. Reports are he didn't. What are you to make of that?
Neil, first, I think the sheriff is exactly right in starting with the supposition that he had to have had help. As you know, in terrorism incidents, the FBI and police are always looking for follow-on attacks, co-conspirators, aiders and abettors. So that's the right starting position. That being said, I just got back from Vegas last night, was in a major casino hotel, and for me to fold up any number of AR-15s, put them in my suitcase, one or two, and drag them to my room would have not attracted any particular attention in that casino, even 2-3 days after this attack. This is human beings coming and going in large numbers, certainly in Las Vegas, where you have hundreds of hotel guests and visitors passing through. I don't think I would have attracted any particular notice, even making multiple trips with multiple bags.
All right, we get all these different reports, Ron, about people who swear when they were, descending on the Mandalay that they heard, shots from other floors, even other hotels, other casinos. I know this sort of thing happens all the time where people will swear, I heard gunshots coming from multiple directions. So as a former FBI guy, how do you go and sort through that? I mean, ears can play tricks on you, but explain how that can happen.
Well, easily. I'll go back to the Dallas police shooting last year, where the initial reports were, and this is very common, it's more common than it is not, where the initial reports are multiple shooters from multiple locations. In Dallas, it was very evident because it was a parking structure, a lot of concrete, tall buildings. The echo of gunfire certainly is going to sound like it's multiple shooters. The same happened at the Washington Navy Yard a few years ago, where the initial reports are often inaccurate. You're hearing echoes, reflections of gunfire. And so I think that's not uncommon. Look, I think it's incumbent on, first, I want to say that I think the sheriff and law enforcement are doing a great job getting in front of the media multiple times during the day to answer some questions and tell what is known. That being said, we know that after any of these big events, there's going to be conspiracy theories floating around. Part of the sheriff's work is to defeat that. I had a ride back to the hotel the other night with a cab driver who was convinced that there was another shooter, at least in one other location. Look, we have to depend on and trust our law enforcement to get it right. Certainly, if there are rounds coming from another location, by now law enforcement would have seen evidence of that. You'd see that from trajectory, from how people were hit, where they were standing. It's important then for the sheriff to make these repeated appearances and tell us what is true.
But you're saying, just to be clear, Ron, that given just the amount of weaponry and the sophistication of that weaponry, whether he was firing the shots alone, that he had to have had help just assimilating, gathering all this stuff? I just don't want to misrepresent what you said.
No, I think there is a great possibility that he went out and acquired these weapons himself and brought the weapons to the room himself over a period of time. He was in the room for several days. How hard would it be to bring in 5 AR-15s collapsed and a bunch of magazines in a suitcase once or twice a day? That is,
but
to
when
me,
they're talking
easily
about that he might not have done this alone, they're talking about the act itself. Then are you?
Yeah, I'm talking about the act itself, going from window to window, firing a fully a bump stock automatic weapon, dumping 30 rounds, 60 rounds from one gun, setting it down. Hey, Neil, that's that's an act, one 30-round magazine is an act that might take 20 seconds. Set that weapon down, go to the other window, fire the other weapon. He did that for 10 minutes using 18 or 19 guns. Those guns would not be overheated by that in that period of time. I think one person who has basic familiarity with an AR-15 could do that fairly easily. But they should look for co-conspirators and helpers.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear on that. Sorry, I was a little slow, but that is what I thought you said. Ron Hosko.